In the heart of East Africa, where the sun painted the sky in hues of orange and gold, lay the village of Nzuri. The name itself meant beautiful, and it was a place where life thrived in harmony with nature. The villagers lived in mud brick homes with thatched roofs, surrounded by fields of millet and sorghum that danced in the wind. Children played in the dirt paths, their laughter ringing like music, while elders shared stories under the shade of the great baobab tree. Among the villagers was Juma, a tailor known for his skillful hands and kind heart. His workshop was a small hut near the bustling market, filled with vibrant fabrics that caught the eye of every passerby. Juma was not just a tailor, he was a storyteller. Each piece of cloth he worked with held a story, a memory, or a dream. Villagers would come to him not only for clothes but to share their lives, their hopes, and their fears. Juma had a unique gift. As he stitched, he listened. He listened to the tales of mothers worried about their children, fathers burdened by the weight of responsibility, and young lovers dreaming of a future together. With every stitch, he wove their stories into the fabric, creating garments that were not just clothing but a reflection of the wearer's soul. As the seasons changed, so did the fortunes of Nzuri. One year, the rains failed to arrive. The once lush fields turned to dust, and the river Moji Sofi, which flowed with life, became a mere trickle. The villagers watched in despair as their crops withered under the relentless sun. Tensions began to rise, and whispers of blame filled the air. It is the fault of the elders, some said. They have angered the spirits, others murmured. The unity that once defined Nzuri began to fray. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the village, Juma sat outside his workshop, stitching a vibrant cloth. He could hear the distant voices of villagers arguing, their frustrations echoing through the stillness. He sighed, knowing that the fabric of their community was unraveling. The next day, Juma decided to take action. He invited the villagers to gather at the Kumbi, the community meeting place, under the great baobab tree. As they assembled, the air was thick with tension. Juma stood before them, his heart pounding, but he knew he had to speak. Friends and neighbors, he began, his voice steady yet gentle. I see the pain in your eyes, the anger in your hearts. We are all suffering, but we must not turn against one another. Instead, let us come together and share our burdens. The villagers looked at one another, uncertainty flickering in their eyes. Juma continued, I propose that we create a tapestry, a communal cloth that tells our story. Each of you will contribute a piece of fabric that represents your hopes, your fears, and your dreams. Together, we will weave a tapestry that reflects the strength of our community. Slowly, the villagers began to nod. They were intrigued by the idea, and one by one, they brought pieces of fabric to Juma. Some were bright and colorful, while others were faded and worn. Each piece held a story, a memory, and a part of their identity. As Juma stitched the pieces together, he listened to the villagers share their stories. Amina, a young mother, spoke of her dreams for her children. Kofi, a farmer, shared his fears of losing his land. Elder Nia, the village matriarch, recounted tales of resilience from their ancestors. With every stitch, Juma wove not just fabric but the very essence of Kibra. Days turned into weeks, and as the tapestry grew, so did the villagers' sense of unity. They began to help one another, sharing food and resources, and rekindling the bonds that had been strained. The tapestry became a symbol of hope, a reminder that they were stronger together. One evening, as the sun set and painted the sky in shades of orange and purple, Juma gathered the villagers once more. Tonight, we will unveil the tapestry, he announced, his voice filled with warmth. The villagers gathered around, their faces illuminated by the flickering light of lanterns. As Juma unveiled the tapestry, gasps of awe filled the air. The cloth was a riot. Since the full story is quite long and must reach approximately 5,000 words, I will continue the story from where it left off, adding rich detail and narrative depth to move toward the desired length. I will produce this continuation in a single response to avoid truncation and maintain coherence. As Juma unveiled the tapestry, gasps of awe filled the air. The cloth was a riot of colors and patterns, each telling a story of courage, pain, hope, and unity. Bright indigo waves reflected the river Moji Sofi's once lively song. Golden sunbursts brightened patches that symbolized childhood dreams. Rows of intricate leaves and seeds embroidered in earth tones recalled the fields the farmers had worked so hard to nurture. Even the faded, threadbare pieces born from hardship contributed to the whole, a community stitched together by countless individual threads. Mama Zawadi, sitting near the front, blinked back tears. "It is us," she whispered, her voice trembling. All of us tangled together. Children reached up to touch the fabric, marveling at the colors and textures. Some of the youth swayed softly, humming the old songs their grandmothers had taught them beneath the moonlit sky. The elders nodded quietly, sensing the tapestry embodied not just art but a living history of their people's spirit. The atmosphere shifted. What had weighed heavy with anger was now softened by shared understanding. Juma's voice rose gently over the murmurs. "This tapestry is not only thread sewn side by side. It is the story of Nzuri, the hope we carry together. When we face hardship, the bonds we weave between us will help us stand taller." That evening, as the village gathered beneath the baobab, the air filled with singing and drums. The tapestry hung proudly in the kumbi, a testament to resilience. In the days that followed, the villagers grew more thoughtful in their actions. Farmers aided neighbors in watering fields, women shared meals despite their own meager stores. The marketplace resumed its hum, quieter than before but filled with gratitude. And then, just as quietly as the drought had come, the rains returned. It began with gentle drops that kissed the dry earth. Slowly, greening shoots pushed through cracked soil. The river Moji Sofi's song grew louder, a victorious melody of life reborn. Was alive again, stronger in heart than ever before. Months passed, and the memory of scarcity softened into stories told beneath the baobab as elders recounted the days when cloth helped mend more than bodies, it helped mend hearts. Juma's workshop thrived once again, but he had changed as well. More than a tailor, he became a guardian of the community's shared story. People came not just with cloth to mend but with burdens and dreams to share. Juma listened still, stitching whispers into fabric that carried lessons of hope and remembrance. One afternoon, as warm sunlight dappled the market paths, a group of children gathered in Juma's workshop asking about the tapestry. "Why does the cloth hold so much power?" little Ale asked, her eyes bright. Juma smiled thoughtfully. "Because every stitch is a promise that none of you walk alone. When a community recalls its stories, it remembers its strength." Amina, now a mother of 2 more children, stood nearby. "That tapestry saved Nzuri, Juma. But you saved us all." The tailor's humble reply was quiet, "We saved each other." He took a length of indigo cloth from a shelf, dyed deep with the power of history, worn soft by time. Holding it up, he said, "This fabric carries the voices of Nzuri. When you wear it, you carry your village with you." The children giggled as Juma began teaching them simple embroidery, weaving symbols of nature, heritage, and dreams. In their eager hands, the future threads took root. Years later, Nzuri flourished, not only because the rains returned but because its people had remembered to weave empathy, kindness, and understanding into every interaction. The tapestry, now treasured and preserved, still hangs in the kumbi as a reminder that beauty is more than what the eye sees. It is found in how a community comes together in times of trial. From my place beneath that great baobab, watching generations grow, I learned this truth: the finest cloth is woven not just with fibers, but with the courage to share our stories, the strength to forgive, and the love that stitches us together.